Thank you for joining us for Pet Connect. I'm Tara Douglas. Before we get to our special guest today, I want to talk about a very special dog we have at the shelter. He is our longest resident there. His name is Charlie, and he is a delightful dog. There's a picture of Charlie from the summer. He is a little over 3 years old, and he is people friendly. He's dog friendly. He is one of our favorites. He's always the most excited to get out of his kennel on our dog walking days on Saturday. And by the way, we need walkers every Saturday at 11 o'clock. And Charlie is just a delightful dog. Last Saturday we got to get him out and put him in the play yard, and he had a little extra time to run around and have fun while other dogs were walking around, and he just greeted every dog that came by that fence. So he would be a wonderful dog for an active family. He'd be a wonderful second dog, and he is just needing a home. So please consider coming out and meeting Charlie, because he is just a delightful dog that all of the volunteers can't understand why he is still at the shelter when he is such a good dog. So come on out and walk dogs with us. Come meet Charlie and come and see if he is the right dog for your household. Now we're going to get to our special guest. We have Mandi Cantrell. She is the Youth Services Director at the B.B. Comer Memorial Library here in Sylacauga. Mandi, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you inviting me.
Mandi is also the host of Library Connection here at TV 47, so she is sitting on the wrong side of the desk right now. So,
well, I've had you and your husband here before, so we've kind of flipped sides.
Well, we are so happy to have you on the show, and this gives us an opportunity for you to tell the viewers a little bit about you.
Oh, okay. Well, like she said, I'm Mandi Cantrell. I'm Youth Services Director at the B.B. Comer Library. I've been there 13 years this month. Just love what I do. I taught school before that, and I've lived here in Sylacauga all my life. I love it here in town, and I always love a chance to share about books, especially books for children. So thank you for inviting me today.
Well, I was so happy when I walked in and you had a bag full of books.
Yes.
So we've got plenty of books to talk about that are related to animals, and we appreciate everything the library does, because in relation to animals, you were able to raise some money for feral dogs around Christmas time with Deck the Paws.
Yeah.
And
we do that every Christmas, or we have for a few years. For $1, you can put a pet, a little dog or a cat, construction paper ornament on our tree, and all the money goes to feral dogs. It's not a lot of money, but we appreciate doing it.
Oh,
we're glad to do it.
Well, feral dogs and the shelter appreciate everything that people do, and it's always nice to have some support, and we appreciate the donation. And
well, kids and pets always go together.
Absolutely, so they certainly do. A few months ago, I had someone on. We were talking about the benefits of children growing up with pets, and you have a story about your own children.
Yes. I have to confess, if I'm around cats and dogs very long, I'm going to be sneezing. I'm allergic. I still love them, and I have learned how to adapt. Just pet them and wash my hands. But I had pets growing up, outside pets. I had one dog. 18 years. So I still almost tear up when I think about Abby. But my husband, Alan, I did want our children to have pets. I wanted them to just to have pets because they're fun. They're fun to have, and to learn the responsibility of taking care of pets, feeding them, and things like that. So it was a great thing for our girls. They each had a dog from the animal shelter. Actually, all of our dogs have been either dogs we found or from the animal shelter. So it's a wonderful place. They were the best pets too.
They are, and we have so many dogs there right now, and so many puppies, and there's just an opportunity for families to have pets that they can raise their children with, either cats or dogs. And a lot of that research, you've got some great books here. When we were talking a few months ago with Kay Jennings, we were talking about the responsibility factor that kids can learn. They can learn confidence. They can learn so many different skills. They can also learn to read, because kids like to read to pets. So you've got some great books that are about pets.
Yes, and some of them you're going to know. Where the Red Fern Grows. Everybody should read this. I can't talk about it too long or I'm going to cry, but it is a wonderful story. My favorite story is a friend of mine's son read this hunting one day, sitting in a tree stand. He finished it. She said he sat there, tears coming down his eyes, but a great story, I thought. So if you haven't read Where the Red Fern Grows, please do. We also have books, if you're thinking about getting a pet, there's How to Speak Dog and lots of other books like this about pets, about dogs, how to take care of them, what it means when they're wagging their tails or their ears are up, things like that.
And we had just talked about the there's some shelters in other states where they have kids come and read to dogs. And that was one thing they do, is they train those kids to know how to read body language and to understand which dog would be a good one to go in and read to, so that you can have that dog more comfortable and come out and meet people when they come to look. So
that would be fun.
So they might have used that book.
They might have, who knows. Caring for cats and kittens, that's just, I think if you're going to get a pet, you need to talk to your children about how to care for them and what they need to do. Then we have books on different kinds of dogs. This is Labradoodles. This is for a juvenile child who can read a little more. Then we have, even for our early readers, Maine Coon cats, just to learn a little bit more about pets. This has very few words in it, but just lots of pictures and lots of information. We have these on dogs and cats and you name it. Some of my favorite books. This is called Yoda, The Story of a Cat and His Kittens. It's by Beth Stern. They adopted this cat thinking he only had a few months to live because he had heart problems. Then they fostered some kittens, and this cat just took on that responsibility of, I guess, being a father to those kittens, and lived about 7 or 8 more years.
Oh, wow.
So we all want to be needed.
He had a purpose in life.
Yes, but this is a true story based on that. And Adventures in Fosterland. These stories, this is about a pig who was adopted or fostered by a family with a cat. So this is based on a true story. These are fun books.
I bet they are fun books.
Right.
Lots of good stories.
Y'all have a need for fosters, I know.
We do, very much so. And I had no idea that you had some good books at the library to talk about fostering and experiences with fostering.
Yeah. I've had some little girls come in. This has been about a year or so ago, and they were fostering kittens. Learn, all the little girls would like to be a vet, of course.
Of course.
And so they had the kittens. What a great experience for them.
It really is. And fostering is, when you're fostering a puppy or a kitten, it's a short-term thing. So it's not like you're committing to a long time to keep the animal, because we can find homes for them. We can get them to rescues through feral dogs. And any support we can have with people learning from books and learning from each other is great.
Great, I'm glad. Well, and Clifford, everybody knows about Clifford the big red dog. These are not nonfiction books. They are not true, but everybody loves Clifford. Everybody loves him. And of course, Pete the cat.
How can you not love Pete the cat? He's too cool.
He is. Everything's good. Everything's groovy. About 4 other books. This is a real sweet story called Always. This dog is telling this little girl, I will protect this house and everything because you live here. About the love that pets have for us. Oh, I'm going to cry, Tara. I know.
I know.
About the Harry and Hopper is about a little boy losing his pet.
Okay.
Very sweet story. The Blue House Dog. In this story, I thought it was really neat. The dog lives with the man. The man dies. The house is torn down, and the dog is just a stray. He avoids the dog catcher, but a little boy tries to take him in, tries to feed him and things. And at one point in time, the little boy lays down in the grass. He says, "I want to know what it's like to be a dog without a home." So it does end happily.
Okay, good.
And my very favorite one, Two Bobbies, the true story of Hurricane Katrina, friendship and survival. I've used this with children. I've used it with adults. It's a great true story about a dog and a cat who took care of themselves after the hurricane.
And you got so many good stories there, and we've got a lot of good stories from adoptions at the shelter recently.
Oh, really? Yeah.
We've had someone adopt an adult dog and she has an autistic son, and the dog has quickly become his emotional support dog. And they had no idea that she would do that, but she sleeps with him, and if he has any issues, she goes directly to him, and it calms him down. And we've got a couple of other families that adopted dogs, and they said that these dogs are just amazing for their families. And so, you've got great books there, but we've got great stories locally, and great dogs here locally that need some homes.
Yes, that's great. That's great. I use a lot of these stories in our story times. I will put in a plug for story time. I have story time on Tuesday morning at 10:30 for ages 3 to 6. Love for you to come and share that. We have a good time. Stories and songs and activities, and we play with toys and just have a great time.
I bet you have a great time.
And lots of stories about dogs and cats.
And you've got some good pictures in there too. We have a lot of times we'll have patients come in that bring their kids, and if we show them pictures of dogs and cats, they'll sit there all day long and let us work on their parents.
Well,
So
good, yeah.
I guess dog and cat pictures have a calming effect on kids
They
too.
do. I think they do. And every child will say, "Oh, I have a cat," or "I have a dog," or so. There's something always that they can share.
And one of the big things that I talked to Kay about a few months ago with children and their development and having a pet at home that you can also get from books is developing empathy for animals. And so I'm sure you see that a lot, that kids really understand after reading these books that what happens to animals if you don't take care of them.
Yes, that's true. There are stories of animals that are abandoned or, and they always have a good ending. They've they've found a home they love. I think it's good for children to see that.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful thing.
It's a lot of good stories.
Because that's where we can change things is with the kids, because we do have an issue here with lots of homeless dogs and cats. And hopefully if kids are reading these books and understanding how great it is to have a dog and a cat, that they can start understanding the problem and being the solution.
They're fun to have, but they're also work.
They are.
Anything worth having is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but
it's a responsibility.
There's a lot of reward too to having a pet.
That's so true.
Now we've got some other things coming up at the library, so let's talk about that.
Today's Wednesday. We have a brown bag program. It's Singleton. I can't remember his first name.
Billy Singleton.
Billy Singleton, about the First Ladies of Flight, I believe. That'll be fun. That'll be good. It's at 12 o'clock. I have to get my notes to remember. The doors open at 11:30, I believe. Bring your lunch. Bring a sandwich, and the library provides some water and some cookies from the hospital. Next Wednesday is Dolores Haddad.
She is always a great. All of the speakers are wonderful.
Yes.
I've had the opportunity to go to all of them, and they're amazing. I learned so much, and it's a wonderful time. And Dolores, she always wraps up the Brown Bag series and does such a beautiful job with her storytelling.
Yes. She is a great storyteller. I'm just on the edge of my seat, just enthralled. I've cried, I've laughed, everything with her. She's wonderful, though.
Absolutely. So, and that's this today, and then
Wednesday.
next week on Wednesday,
Week,
and then the Brown Bag series will be done after that until summer.
Oh, and then summer is all about children. We have so much fun. We have jugglers, magicians, Animal Tales is a group that comes in and brings live animals. So probably it's normally not dogs and cats, but it'll be some exotic animal. But we did have a wolf one time. But they are so much fun, and the kids are having fun, and they're learning about the animals and having a great time and reading, keeping their reading skills intact through the summer.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It is great.
And
I love it.
That's a great way for them to learn to read. And then maybe we can implement this reading to dogs at the shelter.
That'd be
a great way for them to learn to read also.
I would love to do that. We'll have to talk about that when we get through.
Absolutely. Well, we certainly appreciate you coming on the show and agreeing to talk to us and tell us about these wonderful books. And
I'm always glad to share about our books. Now we have, and I could have brought 10 bags of books, but I chose some of my favorites.
And those look like really good ones that we all should read.
Yes, that's
Adults
true.
and children should read all those books.
Absolutely.
Help us understand animals even better.
Yes, that's true.
And speaking of, we have, like I said, we're walking dogs every Saturday at 11, and this coming Saturday, I have 2 of my regulars that are going to be out of town. So I need more people now more than ever to come out and help us walk dogs, because we try to get every one of the adult dogs out of the shelter to walk. And it gives us an opportunity to get to know those dogs. And so that way we can network with these families that we were talking about that adopted dogs recently and had the perfect dog for their household. We know their personalities more so that we can tell them. And we can find a home for Charlie. We got his picture up again. We're going to do our best to do that. But along with the adult dogs, we have 40 plus puppies at the shelter right now, and the shelter is in desperate need of puppy food, wet puppy food. So if you are in the mood to support the shelter, then please drop off some wet puppy food. And the Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill is in need of wet kitten food. We have a lot of kittens in foster right now, and you can drop off wet kitten food at Mutt Cuts at 210 Calhoun Avenue as well. So let's do what we can to help support the fosters who are helping these dogs and cats and get them some food. And don't forget, we have our Heartworm fundraiser also. So when you're out and about in town at local restaurants, local businesses, the banks, please consider even dropping $1 in, because every bit helps us, because a lot of those dogs we have at the shelter are heartworm positive, unfortunately, and we need to get them treated when they get adopted or treated before they can go to rescue. And so that's everything that we can cover right now. Do you have anything else to share, Mandy?
No, please come in and see us and get some good books about pets.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. We'll have more Daybreak after these messages.